everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from fall time in Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
We probably shouldn't sing when we got music playing behind us.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, hey, Wait, what do we do? Thank God I'm Atheist, and then I say something. The podcast.
Wow.
Well, we kind of interrupted ourselves. I know my lines.
I'm
Shut
Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And Dan,
Yeah.
boy howdy. Coming up today, we're
Yeah.
going to talk about when sort of unlikely allies, when we have unlikely allies as atheists, and
Yeah.
what to do about that and what it means, and then take an issue that's sort of lining up and play around with it. We're going to do some sandbox type stuff.
Oh, we are.
We're going to just play around with the issues.
We're going to talk about what happens if the religious people agree with us. Because do we have to like blow things up?
Right.
Do we have to just
and the problem is because it's sort of religious people, it is going to be inconsistent as well.
Yeah,
they're
there's
not
gonna-
always going to line up with
there's
us.
going
We're
to be there's going to be issues.
Yeah. So
we got problems coming down the pike. We'll solve all of the world's problems.
Yeah.
Coming up later on the show.
Well, but starting off, Dan.
Yes.
I'm going to begin with a story that is just there's a lot of landmines in this one, Dan.
Oh, good.
So you're going to have to bear with me. Milton Wainwright, 78 years old, New Zealander,
Uncle Milty.
Uncle Milty.
It's a different Milton. Go on.
He considers himself a devoted Christian.
Okay.
And he, upon some reflection about a Maori carving that was out in the woods,
Sure.
that was on kind of this little trail thing that he likes to go on, apparently near where he lives, had a phallus
Okay.
that he deemed inappropriate.
Oh, God.
He
Please don't destroy this piece of somebody else's art. Please don't do that.
It was obscene.
Uh-huh.
It was immoral.
Uh-huh.
And after not succeeding in cutting off the phallus with a saw, just like a hand saw, because Dan,
He couldn't do it.
the wood was too hard.
Oh, man.
Took a chainsaw. He came back with a chainsaw.
Oh, my God, you fucking idiot.
And cut it off.
Oh, good
I watched
Lord.
the video that accomes this story.
He videoed himself doing it?
No, he's interviewed for the local
okay.
media, right? And he describes the phallus as being sort of disproportionate,
Well,
right?
if you can't get it off with a saw, that's a big dick.
No, it really wasn't.
Oh, what?
I mean, when you imagine
You've been
somebody
watching too
being-
much porn.
being bothered by a disproportionate penis,
Sure.
right? I mean, I've been to Pompeii and that kind of stuff where like and seen Roman stuff, right? Where there were like these like giant phallus figures.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like there
And
are
so I
art
was-
pieces where the penis is larger than the body of the man,
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah, and I sort of was imagining that that's what this was. This was the figure itself is out of sort of normal human proportions. It has an elongated torso and a big head and short legs.
Sure.
Well, the penis compared to the legs, yeah, it kind of went down like half the leg,
Okay.
which in normal proportions
Would be,
would be enormous.
Right.
Right.
but it's just a stylized.
It's a
fucking
stylized statue. The penis compared to the torso, not that big.
Huh.
Right. And
So
also,
it was hanging down. It wasn't thrust
it
outward.
was not. It was not pointing away. It was not pointing up.
It was.
It was, in essence, down.
Right.
Right. And sort of carved into the relief of the legs. It wasn't
Oh,
even separate
well, no wonder.
from...
Well, no wonder his handsaw didn't
His
work.
handsaw
That's
totally
the
didn't
wrong tool entirely.
Yeah. A chainsaw, however,
Chainsaw will do
He
it.
just kinda
that'll do the trick.
did just shaved it away.
God. You can't handle a fucking penis.
Yeah.
You have one, dickhead.
Right.
Presumably.
Milton,
Yeah.
who works at first of all, the name of the town is Woodville.
Okay.
He works at the Organ Museum. The unfortunately named Woodville Organ Museum.
One
the-
presumes that's about
the
musical
phallus
instruments.
haters. I would assume so. In the
Yeah,
background
okay.
of the photo, there
Yes,
are
they're
literally organs.
pipe organs, sure, yeah.
But, yeah, wouldn't that have been ironic?
Yeah,
If
exactly.
he worked at the Phallus Museum. He didn't like the competition.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been ordered to pay $2,000 for the emotional harm that this has caused
Yeah.
to his nearby Maori neighbors. He said that the carving was it disgusted him,
Well,
and it promoted sex for pleasure.
oh God, no,
No,
please.
It was a penis.
Yeah, first, this is what is fucked up about the believers is that they are so obsessed. They are the sex obsessed ones,
Absolutely.
and are so much so that they can't imagine an exposed penis without it being connected immediately to sex, regardless of whether or not it's erect, regardless of anything. Like it, just the fact of a visible penis means sex to them.
Right. Well,
The rest of the world is like, no, dude, that's not. It's just a dick. But his brain is so sex obsessed, he
Absolutely.
can't imagine it.
and his eyes went straight to the crotch because
Well, I mean, we're all gonna look at the penis. Come on.
let me tell you though, it was all the way that it was painted. You're gonna notice it.
Yeah.
But there's a good chance it's going to also take you a moment to notice. It's not going to be the
really?
first feature that you see on this thing.
There you go.
Right. Nonetheless, when the statue went up, he was incensed. He said that he spotted the carving shortly after its opening ceremony. I've got to find the person who authorized this. He dealt with the local council, the police, the Department of Conservation.
And
he
no
just
one
went
would do
around and
anything?
around, and nobody would do anything, Dan.
Why aren't they listening to his crackpot craziness? It's shameful. He had to take matters into his own hands. Now I'm on his side. He had no choice.
Rosalie, his wife,
Uh-huh.
she's on record. She respects his courage and bravery. And she must be the more technical of the two because she's been shielding him from the online abuse that has come from this. They did, however, they have had some online support, including a woman who posted on Facebook that she didn't like the carving either. Rosalie and the woman are now best friends, and they work together in a secondhand shop in Woodville. It's a heartwarming story.
Life in Woodville.
Some good has come out of
He
whole
has saved the other Woodvillians from
wood.
the terrifying penis. Okay. Well, there you go. Grow up, everybody. All right, and that's coming from me. If I'm telling you to grow up, there's a problem. Mm-hmm. Because I am a child.
One of the least grown up people.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know if you're aware of this, you being so out of the political loop as you are.
Oh yeah,
But
I stay away from it.
but there was another Democratic debate.
I actually watched the first half hour, 40 minutes of it.
Did you?
Oh, it was mildly miserable.
I'm unable to watch, unfortunately.
I was on my second glass of wine and was just like, no, turn this off.
So this was on ABC, the television network.
Yeah,
The American Broadcast Company. I think that's what that's for.
something along those
Something
lines.
like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what you didn't see if you tuned into it was an ad by the FUFRF.
Yeah, that's true. I
Which
heard, yeah.
they actually have been running the same ads for a while now.
Yeah.
They've got one with former President Ronald Reagan's son, Ron Reagan Jr.,
Yeah.
who declares himself to be an atheist and says he's not afraid of burning in hell. But also, it's just an ad for the Freedom from Religion Foundation.
Right.
They've got another one that quotes John F. Kennedy, who's saying, I believe in an America where the separation of church and state is absolute. Two perfectly reasonable ads. They're issue ads, but not offensive. I mean, believe me, people take offense, but they're not actually offensive.
Right. They're not on the attack.
And certainly not any more offensive than plenty of other ads that ABC's
absolutely
happy to run.
Yeah.
And ABC has run these ads before, but this time around, they decided it was too hot, and they said no.
Wow.
Rejected it.
It is a little outrageous. Also, I was noticing online this morning, people are very upset about the AOC ad that ran on ABC
right
during the debates, where she's a picture of her.
It's not an ad for her.
No,
it's an ad against her
and the rest of the squad and whatnot, and
which is hilarious because they're not running for nothing now.
Right, but her picture on fire.
Yeah,
I mean, burning a picture of AOC.
Yeah, that's not too hot.
No.
But a guy just willing to say, I don't believe in a God, and that's okay.
Right.
Brr. Too much. Can't do it.
Well, all right, Dan. I want to know, Dan.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the rapture?
Oh, it cannot come soon enough. I'm desperate for it. Please. Happen.
Well, then I've got a website for you. Little plug-in for raptureready.com.
Okay.
Where you will find the Rapture Index.
Which
is described as being by no means meant to predict the rapture.
Okay.
However,
Thank God.
The index is designed to measure the type of activity that could act as a precursor to the rapture.
Okay.
You could say the Rapture Index is a Dow Jones Industrial Average of end-time activity. This is straight from the website.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
And I think it would be better if you viewed it as prophetic speedometer. The higher the number, the faster we're moving towards the occurrence of pre-tribulation rapture.
You're telling me that they missed out on the opportunity to compare it to the doomsday clock? They missed the most obvious. Okay, whatever.
Okay, so scores or current index levels of 100 and below. That's slow prophetic activity.
Okay.
100 to 130 is moderate prophetic activity.
Okay.
130 to 160, heavy prophetic activity.
Oh, my goodness.
Above 160, fasten your seatbelts.
We're redlining, baby.
So guess where we're at? Where do you think we are?
240.
Nope. 184.
Okay, see?
So fasten your seatbelts.
Yeah.
According to
well above the 160 is where I was going.
The index was updated just 3 days ago.
Oh, okay.
4 days ago. And it actually went down. It was at 185. It's gone down 1 point. So clearly some conditions around the world have slightly improved.
Well, according
to these folks.
Just so that people have some context for this, I think it was prophetic of us to choose the audio that we're going to be playing in the second segment of the show because it is a fast and furious bit of prophesying. And what's amazing is what's great about it is that the prophecy we'll be listening to Mark Taylor, the fireman prophet, the firefighter prophet.
Yeah.
And he's referencing a whole bunch of prophecies that he's made, and it's very clear that all of them are like, there will be 3 who come and do evil. And they're so
He's
vague.
Nostradamusing us.
So I think that's probably what they're looking at is a whole bunch of vagaries.
Well, no.
That then you can make anything fit.
No. There are 45 different scoring factors.
Okay.
Here. So these range from issues on debt and trade, false Christs, the occult, Satanism, unemployment,
Oh.
inflation. Israel has its own factor.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Sure.
Climate.
Uh-huh.
They acknowledge the climate. Wild weather.
Well, I don't know if you've read Revelation,
Floods.
but Revelation deals with all of these things.
Mark of the Beast. All right, so scale of 1 to 5. Dan, I'm gonna test to see where you think they feel
my.
we are.
We got a quiz.
On some of these. The economy.
I just don't understand any of this.
1 to 5. 1 being not a lot of prophetic energy, right? 5 being like end times or not on this
I
issue.
cannot imagine how they would interpret. First of all, it would have to be like world economy and
Okay. So economy, I have an
Yeah.
explanation for all of these.
Oh,
so
God.
If you need some support information, how well the economy is doing demonstrates the stability of a nation. History tells that most movements toward war, dictatorship, and lawlessness is aided by unfavorable financial conditions. So, based on that understanding of the economy,
Oh my God.
how close, how bad is it? Is it a 1 being good, 5 being bad?
I have no idea how they would. I mean, like these presumably are all Trump fans, so the way that they interpret the numbers is going to be very different than how a person would interpret the numbers. I'm going to say that 3.
A 4. I
Okay.
give it a 4.
Okay.
Let's see.
Meaning it's bad. Meaning it's
Meaning they think the economy is not doing so great.
okay.
I don't know.
There you go.
I mean, they're sounding the alarms of recession right now, but like, I don't know, things seem right now to be good.
Not really. I mean, we got trade wars with China. Like, I think if you talk
Okay,
to
I guess good for me. Let's. I have a job.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, things are okay for
Things
us.
seem stable
Yeah,
for me
yeah.
and my friends. Anyway, that's probably not the right.
I mean,
way
our
to
unemployment
try to
is low, but
understand.
it's crap jobs.
Crap jobs. Yeah, so maybe they have some understanding of that.
Yeah,
that
maybe
surprises me.
That
they
shocks
do,
me.
Right?
Because most of the Trump supporters that I hear are like, "Oh, the economy's perfect. It's amazing," and I'm
Right.
just like, no, that.
How about how about volcanoes? How do you think we're doing on the topic of volcanoes?
Oh, I don't care what the number is. I'm just happy it's one of the things that they're
So
tracking.
okay, let me tell you.
Tell me how we're doing on volcanoes.
Okay, this is based on Matthew 24:7. Not mentioned specifically. Volcanic eruptions fall into the birth pang theme Matthew described. Volcanoes have an ecological impact that affects other indicators. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
sure.
All right. Okay. What do you think?
I have no idea. I'm not a seismologist.
Oh my God, 4, Dan.
Okay.
Jesus, it's so obvious.
Okay,
Right.
great,
Okay, let's just.
amazing.
Moral standards, of course, is a 5, right?
Right,
Liberalism is a 5.
right. That's of course.
Mark of the Beast is a 5.
Yeah.
Nuclear nations, a 5.
What is Mark of the Beast? You have to read me what Mark of the Beast is because I don't. What the fuck
I'm
do
happy
they
to.
think that is?
This is Revelation 17.
Yeah, I
12.
know.
The Roman Empire will revive under the leadership of 10 rulers. This revived Roman Empire will exist for only 7 years. After the Roman Empire has been revived for 3.5 years into a 7-year rule, the Antichrist will take over and rule for the remaining 3.5 years. Now, I did a little nosing around on their website. They
I didn't understand any of that
These are like
as it pertains to now.
European Union types.
Okay.
As well. They
Okay.
see the European Union as a reunification or like a revival of the Roman Empire,
Interesting.
right? And so like they have a little picture of like euro currency, right? Talking about the Roman Empire and whatnot. So it's just Rome's back in the form of the European Union.
Oh my God.
You know, I mean, it's just insanity. Things that are currently the one that went down, right? That brought the score down 1 point. Earthquakes. It was 4. Now it's 3. Just, so you
Okay.
feel a little bit better about that.
Thank God.
Things that we're doing really great on currently, I don't think there's any ones anywhere here. But we have a couple twos. Oil supply and price. They're feeling good about that.
They're tracking oil supply.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
these guys,
God.
These guys, they have it all figured out.
What does solar mean to them, I wonder? What is like renewable, like the rise of renewables? Does that portend the coming of the apocalypse?
Well, the solar index. It's not here.
No, they're not gonna have that. Listen, that's all. Okay, all I'm saying is, can we get it over with? Can we just get it done?
Yeah, we can move on to the next story.
Well, I was saying, can we get this rapture happening so that all those good
they can
Christians
just go away.
Can go away. All right.
I want them to self-rapture.
Yeah, exactly. Rapture yourself, find your island, live your best life. Speaking of crazy Christians, J. Fal Jew, Jerry Falwell Jr., the head of Liberty University, son and heir to the Jerry Falwell Senior dynasty, the fortune and everything. We've reported on him recently. He's in hot water. There was a new Politico lengthy article that cited several anonymous members of probably the board of Liberty University and other employees from Liberty U.
Yeah.
And man, it was a lot.
Yeah.
The dude, anybody who's been paying attention can tell that the dude is just, he's a millionaire playboy pretending, in hiding under pastor clothing.
Right.
So, and his son is apparently just a nutball. His son Trey, which means 3, because he's Jerry Falwell Jr. the third, so they call him Trey.
Cute. That's cute. I
Isn't
like
that cute?
I do like that.
Anyway, some Liberty University students have actually planned a protest. They're actually calling for internal and external investigation of the guy.
Wow. Well, he's not their guy.
No, he's going out like Liberty University is all about it's basically BYU in terms of like no drinking,
Right.
No sexy anything,
Right.
Probably don't touch anybody,
Right.
Maybe wear just a box around you at all times or something.
Right.
And now this Politico piece has pictures of Jerry Falwell at and his son Trey at a fucking Florida nightclub, at a Miami nightclub. Obviously, they're playboying it up. You know what I mean? Like they talked about. Did you see the part? I know you read the article or at least skimmed it. Did you see the part where Jerry Falwell, apparently as a thank you to their personal trainer guy that we reported on a few weeks ago. As a thank you for helping his wife get into the shape that she wanted to get into, sent him a picture of her in like a sexy French maid costume.
Oh my God.
And then accidentally sent it to other people that he didn't mean to send it to.
Oh my God.
And had to get them to all delete it and what.
Oh my God. That's amazing. It does. Have you been watching HBO's The Righteous Gemstones?
Oh, I watched one episode of it.
It's clear where they're drawing some inspiration.
I mean,
it's not hard to find these sort of characters.
You go to any
this is
of these.
who it is. This is who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But any of them, you go to any major, it's just you add power.
Right.
The only reason we're not reading this stuff about, what's his name? Smiley guy from Texas. Osteen.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason we're not reading this from Osteen is because it just hasn't come out yet.
He might be a little smarter. He might keep it a little more under wraps.
Well, yeah, it's true.
It's possible.
You never know.
I mean, this guy's just reckless.
Yeah.
He's going to nightclubs.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got to be a little bit more careful.
Well, and he's likely been. I mean, we know that Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, who's now serving time in jail,
Right.
He apparently had to clean up some photos that were taken of Falwell.
Oh my God.
But they used that as leverage against him, which
Yeah.
is why he was so in the camp for Trump from an early
Right.
an early point.
Right.
They leveraged him.
Yeah.
He's a compromised man
Yeah. And foolish.
and a dope.
Yeah.
Dopey,
Because let me
dope,
tell
dope.
you, I guess you might as well just have fun.
I love
If
that.
that's who you are.
He accused them of photoshopping him into the nightclub picture,
yeah.
and then the photo agency that Politico got that photo from
Uh-huh.
went back, and they were so incensed by that accusation that they
Uh-huh.
went back and found like 4 more pictures of him in the nightclub on the same night.
I love it.
Anyway,
That's awesome. All right, Dan.
yeah,
Let me tell you, with all of this that's going on in the world, Jerry Falwell, the rapture's right around the corner.
yeah.
It is no surprise to me that Mary,
Our Blessed Mother.
our Mother Mary,
Yeah.
right, that she would be sad and weeping.
Don't tell me she's been crying again.
She's been crying.
God damn it!
She's been crying. There's a weeping icon of Mary with the child Jesus that just started weeping. Dan, just barely.
Where at?
At a Greek Orthodox church in Chicago.
Oh.
Um,
Oh, I guess Greek Orthodoxism is correct, everybody. we have an answer.
let's see, the Reverend Nicholas Jonas
Okay.
was sitting in his office Sunday morning when a church employee burst in and informed him of the, quote, weeping virgin. He says it's common throughout the Orthodox Church to see a phenomena like that, but to have it personally was very overwhelming. After he examined the tears, he placed some cotton balls at the bottom of the painting to absorb the streaks of moisture.
Sure.
And he posted a photo on Facebook that evening, Sunday evening.
Sure.
Right? By Monday morning, the word had spread, Dan,
To all the world.
to all the world. Many nearby Greek Orthodox priests have come to visit.
Sure.
And they have verified.
Do they
But
wipe?
this is for
Do they
real.
wipe her tears with their beard?
No, she's actually stopped. The weeping has stopped, but the traces of the water have remained. So she's definitely.
That's perfect.
She looks like a weeping painting.
Oh, that's
oh
great.
My God.
Good for them.
Let's see. The Reverend
no.
name that I can't say says this is a calling on all of us to change our lives.
Oh.
We need to turn to her in prayer and humility and cleanse our hearts and souls of iniquities
Wait.
so we may find salvation.
You weren't doing that before?
I know.
Why are you changing your life now? You were supposed to be doing that the whole time.
Yeah, I know.
God damn
But
it,
now,
Reverend so-and-so.
Now he's been reminded. Also, His Eminence Metropolitan Nathaniel.
I don't think that's a real thing.
That's a thing. He inspected and confirmed the legitimacy of the tears.
Oh, yeah.
And
Do the teardrops smell suspiciously like turpentine that's been eyedroppered onto her eyeballs?
yeah, I don't know. Here's the real kicker, Dan.
Yeah.
This parish was in trouble.
Oh.
The timing, her timing
Couldn't have been better.
could not have been better.
Oh.
The parish now, they think that they're probably going to survive their financial troubles.
Oh, my God.
It was pretty much set to close. But the pews are full, Dan, with people.
Oh.
The candles are lit,
Thank you, Mary.
and the pews are full.
Oh,
Wow.
blessings be upon her. She saved the day.
Thank you, Mary.
You know, there's 2 ways to interpret that. But I think the correct way is definitely that Mary,
Someone.
mother of Joseph, has saved the parish. I don't think there's any other way to look at that when you're being honest with yourself.
It's really amazing.
All right, I'm going to take us finally to the Barna Group. That
Barna?
the religious surveyor,
I love Barna.
not surveyor meaning they sort of plot roads out or whatever, but surveyor meaning they conduct surveys.
Pollsters.
They've done a study, the efficacy of which one questions because it was done online and whatever. Anyway, so it excludes, the illiterate and those without access to the internet. And I don't know how they got people to participate because, these self-selecting things tend to be pretty skewed. But
Yeah.
all that taken for all, interesting findings. They asked about various forms of anxiety among young people, young adults. And came up with some interesting things that I don't really doubt their findings. They are a little disheartening for our side of the matter, but that's okay.
Okay.
For instance, they asked people. So they asked people to rate how they feel.
Okay.
I often feel anxious about important decisions.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, of the total number of people that answered this question, 40% of them agreed that they often feel anxious about important decisions.
Of course, it's normal.
Yeah, for 40%, it almost seems low. Like, if it's an important decision, you should feel a little anxious about it. Anyway, Christians came in at 39%, so below the average.
Oh.
Other religions came in at 35%.
Oh, interesting.
Nuns, atheists, agnostics, and people of no religion came in very much above the average at 47%.
Right, because their brains work normally.
Right. Well, there's that. Yeah. And this was
because we're just like, yeah, of course you feel anxious about that.
Right.
When Christians with their false sense of security, that everything's just going to be okay, because Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you've deluded yourself. You've prayed about it, and you're like, well, it's in Jesus' hands.
You're right.
Why should I get all kind of, Prozac-y about this?
Right. Other questions include: I often feel afraid to fail, with similar results. I often feel sad or depressed. Unfortunately, the total is 28%. That's a nice. That's at least not over. Not hovering around that 40 to 50%.
Yeah.
Christians come in at like 23%.
Whoa.
Whereas atheists and agnostics and nuns come in at 37%.
Oh my God.
It's pretty big jump.
Holy shit.
Christians reporting, self-reporting now.
Right.
But that's a huge leap. So, I mean, I guess the question for me becomes, is there something to even pretend comforts? You know what I mean? Like, there's the George Bernard Shaw quote, which is that the fact that a drunk is happier than a sober person is no more to the, or the fact that a believer is happier than a religious person is no more to the point than a drunk being happier than a sober person.
Right. Exactly.
And yet one sort of wonder, but the factors that
I'll take drunk any day.
Well, join up. Join a religion.
No, I'll take the drunk.
Okay, we'll just go. I'm going to be religious.
I'm not going to be religious.
Not religious, but I will go for drunk.
Drink a ton. That sounds great.
Here's the thing, though. To me, what they're not factoring in is the fact that atheists, agnostics, nuns are an oppressed minority.
Exactly.
Right. And they're living in a world that doesn't. Like,
right.
When
there's a greater chance that atheist is facing problems with their family.
Right.
Right. Rejection from community.
Yeah.
Right. Which those are high indicators of happiness.
Of depression, anxiety, all of those things.
Sort of general satisfaction and whatnot, right? Like if you have those two squared away, hey, there's a good you got friends, you got family, you got support.
Yeah.
You don't feel alone, isolated, whatever. Yeah. And you're going to there's a greater chance in our current society that you're going to find that more readily amongst a religious community.
Right. If you profess a religion, then people sort of gather around you and you have a built-in safety net and
Yeah.
social network and stuff.
And the likelihood that you grew up in that community, or that you grew up with parents who believe the same way,
Right.
etc. And if you're one of the many atheists and nuns, etc., that have left your religion, right?
Right.
You've got rejection in your life. That's the numbers actually do make sense to me.
Yeah, they do to me too.
And all I can say is that while for those of our listeners who may still be in that place,
Yeah.
right? It's that classic line of it gets better, right?
It can, for sure.
I think in general it gets better. I think that if you've faced family rejection, you can go find new family,
Yeah.
right? You can
Chosen
make
family.
your family. Yeah.
And I think and that's a more, and to be perfectly honest, chosen family is far more solid than the family that you just sort of dumb lucked into.
Yeah, I mean, your values are going to line up.
Yeah, it's going to align.
Yeah.
And if you do, and you may have to take several swings at a new family.
Right.
Because especially if all of your previous experience with, building relationships centered around something that wasn't real, like religion or whatever.
right.
It's going to take a minute to learn how to do it, to figure out how to honor yourself and how to honor, how to get rid of toxic people in your life.
Yes.
Because
Oh my God.
religion teaches you keep all the toxicity. That's what's good for you or whatever.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, it can get better, but I think we have to work harder for it.
We have to work for it.
And
Yeah.
I think it's worth
It's not going to just magically get better.
Right.
Right. You can't just be like, oh, well, Frank said it gets better.
Yeah. Just wait around. Just sit in your basement until it gets better.
No. Go out, find some stuff. Find some
you got to work
community
for
activities.
it. You got to work for
do
it.
some volunteering if that's what it takes.
Yeah. Even if
meet
it's not
people.
what it takes, do some volunteering. That's a great idea.
No.
Don't volunteer.
Only to means to an end. That's the only reason to volunteer.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, if you guys have anything that you'd like to add to this discussion, you can do so. Write to us, podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yep. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click on that like button.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in.
More to come. Well, Frank,
Dan,
we teased it earlier.
what did we tease?
Mark Taylor, prophet, seer, and revelator, the former firefighter who is now fighting fires for the Lord,
Who hears voices in his head
who
and calls them God.
he's about to tell us. Okay. What you're about to get is Fast and Furious. So let me just clue you in. He's going to talk about Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, John Roberts. He's talking about some false reports that Justice Roberts was somehow linked to Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
Jeffrey Epstein, the now dead guy who ran the pedophile rings.
Yes.
Who is? There were a lot of names associated with him, and it's very bad.
Yeah.
And we still have yet to learn all of the depths of his depravity.
Right.
And he had an island that people would go to have parties on, where he sex trafficked people, children, and
It just is unbelievable.
yeah.
It sounds so made up.
It sounds so made up. This is where the conspiracy theorists suddenly feel completely vindicated.
Right.
Because their nonsense actually lines up with something that actually happened in reality.
I'm worried about the lizard people.
Yeah.
I'm really legitimately
That's
worried.
what
There are lizard people.
yeah, now we know. All of the conspiracy theories are true. We found that out.
Oh!
Oh God. I don't even know how to respond now that I know that the earth is flat. It's all weird. Anyway, apparently, so you're going to hear about Justice Roberts. You're going to hear about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We'll just play it, and then we'll try and pick up the pieces after the fact.
Boy,
All right,
there are pieces.
Here we go.
One of the Anons had said that they're preparing for a royal funeral in the next 8 days. They just sent a new honor guard group to D.C. to prepare for Jimmy Carter's funeral.
Wow.
That prophecy I wrote, the evil crew of 32, when the Lord was telling me when one goes, the other one won't be far behind. Bush died November of last year. If this comes true, this will be the second one right here. Okay, what about this one? This one's the one I can't verify. Maybe you can. Is John Roberts. They said his name was mentioned in there as going twice. Now, they said they didn't say SCOTUS. They said it was a guy named John Roberts, so they can't verify if this is the one. Now, if he's the one, you and I both know that little witch called RBG's been there multiple times. Larry Nichols told me himself years ago there was pedophilia on that court. But if John Roberts has been there, that means RBG's been there, which if that's the case, then that might be the scandal God's been talking about, that 3 would be taken down in a scandal. Who's the third one?
Well, I can tell you Ruth Bader Ginsburg is really behind a lot of the abortion rulings. She's a witch from the pit of hell.
Oh, yeah. She's the one that ruled that 12-year-olds should be able to have sex in her dissertation or whatever it was. So she's got to be a pedophile. And if that's the case, then this is the scandal that God was talking about, where 3 would go down on the SCOTUS because they would demand their resignations if that was the case. And so who's the third unknown? That's what I want to know, because there's another one in there somewhere.
Wow.
Oh.
That was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how I like his shotgun approach to prophecy. You just
bang,
throw everything out there. If you literally say every possibility, then when one of them happens, you can be like, "Told you."
Yeah. It's the what do they call it? The rapid fire round.
Yeah.
The speed round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start just throwing it all out there,
Yeah.
and then you can confirmation bias is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
You can ignore all of the things that you got wrong, and just focus on the one.
And you're not getting into any details,
Right. Oh no, details are
and so like John. So you hear the name,
yeah.
right, and then you kind of, if you're not paying too much attention, you miss the fact that he says we just know that the name was John Roberts.
Yeah, right.
But if it was John Roberts,
If it was that John
and
Roberts,
then they start talking in concrete terms again,
Right.
about he went in and he did this and they did that.
He's
And
gonna go down, and then
and
we
if
go
he's
promo.
there, then Ruth Bader Ginsburg clearly would be there.
well, she's obviously a pedophile. I don't know.
Clearly,
I don't know if you guys realize
clearly.
how. I mean, look at the woman. She's clearly. They call her a witch twice. A witch.
It's sickening. This sweet old woman.
Well, I mean, if you put her in a costume, she'd look kind of witchy.
Yeah,
Because old women are easy to demonize.
yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why we all have to go after the old ladies.
Because they're crones.
Yeah,
They're evil
they are evil. I mean, I think that's
their-
undeniable.
with their sharp features.
And their wrinkled faces.
How dare they get wrinkled faces?
Don't wrinkle. What are you, evil? All right, we had some folks write into us and
We
call
did.
into us.
We did, Dan, we
I'll
did.
start. I'll
Okay,
start with
sounds
this. This one's from Michael, who says, "I wanted to comment on your discussion about whether or not laws that limit speech are a good idea." I think
Okay.
you and I, we discussed
Yeah.
that. That's a good. Okay. I think, excuse me. I think no more poignant example of how protecting absolute free speech is a bad idea than Donald Trump's America. Setting aside bad policy, sad excuses for rhetoric, and practically daily scandals that justify impeachment, Trump's political regime includes openly hateful speech towards many minority groups. In the past, our society has generally turned racist, sexist, prejudiced, and bigoted speech into social taboos and enforced those taboos through social exclusion. But those taboos have been cracked wide open by the bigot in chief, starting with the earliest policy-related effort in the Muslim ban. In 2017, it was reported by Pew Research that assaults against Muslim Americans had risen above levels recorded in post-9/11 2001 America, when they were previously at their highest. Reported this year, anti-LGBTQ plus hate crimes are also on the rise and have risen sharply since the inception of the Trump campaign, and subsequently the Trump administration. I can use words. NPR reported in 2018 that hate crimes against Latinos in California were up alone. In California alone, were up 50% since 2016. And finally, reported in 2018, the FBI put hate crimes against African Americans and Jews as the most reported hate crimes in 2017, but also included other groups I have already mentioned as victims. None of these hatreds are new, and it's hard to quantifiably say that things were very good for these groups before the advent of Trumpism. But it's definitely undeniable that the empowerment of right-wing extremists, including white supremacists, through the examples of unfiltered, politically incorrect speech from the office that so many Americans worship as the prime example of executive power in the world, has done measurable harm and increased that harm. Mm-hmm. What does this mean for free speech? I'm not sure that there is a particularly good solution to the problem, but I don't think penalties for speech that clearly endorses, encourages, and enables harm, especially against the groups with little to no political power, is an automatically bad restriction on speech, especially when you can measure the results that speech has in multiple different statistical analyses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
I mean, I think it is hard to draw straight lines from one thing to another.
Right.
Even though, like, you can see a sort of echo effect, or you know what I mean. Like, it's hard to say Trump said X and therefore Y happened.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, definitely inciting violence is always should be restricted speech.
Right.
You cannot be it can't be good speech. We can't allow speech that incites people to hatred and
right.
Well, hatred, I don't know. Violence, I definitely think we can say that that's a no-go.
Right. I mean, yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard because, hatred leads to violence often.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
It's an interesting thing, and I really appreciate the email. Those are very interesting and thought-provoking points.
Yeah.
And and that's where I'm at with this issue.
Yeah.
Right now is that I haven't landed again on a new position.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I had a position, and now I'm kind of up in the air, and I'm like, places that in this world that enjoy a lot of freedoms, right? Very enviable freedoms, in fact, have landed in a very different place than our society has landed.
Yeah.
And our system of government has landed on these issues. And so I just kind of have to ask myself, where is the appropriate position? And so I think that's a great email.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Do you want to play the
yes,
voicemail
I do. This is a question that has come up from time to time on the show, and I think it's always worth addressing these kind of questions. This is from a young person, and it sounds like he's got his situation figured out pretty well, but he still has a question for us. So
okay,
our great wisdom will weigh in. After this voicemail.
Hey, Frankie Dan. Just wanted to say I'm a huge fan. Been listening for a while now, about 2 years. I have been an atheist since I was about 12 years old. I am 17 now. No one in my family knows about it, and I'm trying to find a good way to come out once I move out in the following couple of years. But the reason I've been so hesitant before is pretty much my father would disown me and kick me out. So I was wondering if you guys had any good advice on how to basically break the ice to this once I no longer have the threat of being homeless deterring me. So yeah, that's my question of the day, basically. So I just wanted to say, again, big fan, and hope you use this in your video. Thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you for
thanks
for the call, and I love that he knows that the most important thing right now is
keep yourself safe.
Keep yourself safe. Keep yourself housed and sheltered.
Yeah.
And the time will come when you can, tell your parents that you don't believe in God. And
unfortunately, some
that is-
wisdom is required in this situation.
yeah,
It's not just as easy as I need to be me and throw caution to the wind.
right. Yes. But the time will come when you'll need to tell your parents.
Yeah.
And I think I feel like you need to tell your parents at some point. Like you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
live a double life. You can't go around, waiting for them to come to you. Even, right.
Yeah.
Like you need to grab this bull by the horns and take control.
Yeah.
So how do you break the ice? That's his question.
Yeah.
How
I
do
think, you know what? Yeah, I've heard a lot of people suggest this, and I think that it's not a bad idea, which is to start on some softer targets than your parents.
Yeah.
Do you have an aunt or an uncle that you can go to who might be a little more accepting but still has the same thing?
And who, because they might be a sibling of your dad, who
Right.
sounds like that's the one you're worried about. Like maybe they have some advice.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And they can be, they know your parents. Maybe they can be an ally in you going to them or whatever. Sometimes that can be a good idea if you like your, if you think that
If
that
you
could,
have that kind of relationship.
you
as
only
well.
you can figure
Right.
these things out. But if you have a softer target, if you have somebody that you can go to first, test the waters,
Yeah.
try out some stuff, see what you think.
Yeah.
Also, you don't have to. I wouldn't open with "Mom, Dad, I'm an atheist." Like that's a big scary word for a lot of people. But you can start with things like my views on religion are changing. You know what I mean? And I want you guys to know that I still love you and I still love this family. But I'm not. I find myself not believing the same things that you believe.
Right.
And I want, and also you can talk about your fears before you even go into this. I would say,
Yeah.
I'm afraid that you're going to reject me, and I'm afraid that that you're going to treat me badly
Yeah.
when I reveal this to you.
Get them on record that they're not going to reject you.
Right. Or well,
So
You may
throw
not
it
be able-
back in their face.
okay, now, no, that's not what we're trying to do here. But when you preface things in those ways,
Yeah.
when you make it, and don't make it about like, I think you're going to do something bad. Make it about, I'm afraid.
Right.
This
Talk
is
about your feelings.
Talk about your feelings and talk about who, yeah, exactly. If you can be vulnerable
Yeah.
in this in this conversation, it's going to invite them to be a little more vulnerable. It's going to invite them, and this may or may not work. None of this is guaranteed.
Yeah.
But these are all just sort of ways that you can just sort of break the ice. What you want to do is ask your parents to be parents. Remind them that they love you.
Right.
Remind them that you love them.
Right.
Because just remember that what they're going to feel is not, oh, my child has reassessed things and changed their mind in a logical way. What they're going to feel is, my child is attacking my identity. Not just my beliefs or my religion. These people will associate it with who they are.
Right.
They're going to feel personally attacked.
Right.
It's not fair. It's not right. But that's how they're going to feel.
Yeah.
So,
And also, I would add this, which is and it does sound like you think this could go poorly.
yeah.
Right. And so if you do think that, and that is one true possible outcome here, which I think it probably always is
Yeah.
in these kind of situations, you need to be prepared for what's going to happen to you. Not just from like an isolation from your family sort of way, but from the emotional distress that this could really cause for you. Be prepared for a period of mourning if they cut you off, right?
Right.
You need to steel yourself emotionally and mentally against some potential outcomes here, and be
Sure.
aware of your own mental health
Yeah.
in the aftermath.
But also
I don't
don't-
say this
but
to
don't-
scare you.
Yeah, and
right?
don't let this
But
be.
this is from personal experience,
Right.
of having had this not go great.
but while you should be prepared for that, don't let that make you believe that that's the only possibility of what could
No,
happen.
no.
This could go fine. It could go rough. It's probably going to be rough. It's going to be a rocky road.
Right.
It could go really bad at the beginning, and then they come around eventually.
Right.
It could go better than you expect.
Just be aware, though, that parental rejection, right, does take a psychological toll.
Yeah.
And so if right, if that is the outcome, you need to make sure that you have a good support group
Yeah.
lined up.
Yeah. Have some friends
Make
ready.
sure that your friends
Have
know
some-
what you're going through
Yeah.
and be able to talk it through with people and get some good support on the other side.
Yeah.
Because while things may patch up eventually with your parents, there's going to be a moment of real. It's going to be hard,
And it's a long game.
It could be rough.
It's a
Right.
long game.
Yeah.
You gotta be looking way down the road if
Yeah.
you want to keep the things. If you want to keep this relationship going.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I think we've just terrified someone.
I hope not. Like,
I hope not.
This is something that you do have to do, and you owe it to yourself.
But you don't have to do
to
it.
live honestly and openly.
Yeah.
And there are risks.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can choose when to do it. It doesn't have to be right after you move out. It doesn't have to. It's still your choice. All of this is you.
It does sound like he's kind of champing at the bit.
I know.
Like he wants to tell his parents.
Be careful.
And so I'm just saying, know the lay of the land.
Yeah. Good luck. Let us know how it
best
goes.
of luck, and please do let us know how it goes.
All right, Chaz wrote into us. Chaz wrote, "Hi, Frank and Dan. I'm a current major in linguistics." Oh, this is in reference to us having your story where we talked about
American Sign Language.
the group of young people raising money to translate the Bible into various sign languages around the world.
Oh yeah, not just American. It's
Yeah.
already been done in American Sign Language.
Right. Hi, Frank. And I'm a current major in linguistics in North Carolina, and in doing so, I've learned some a good bit about sign language. What I think y'all need to know is that while some sign languages may have a heavy relationship to spoken languages, sign languages themselves are utterly and completely unique to any other language, spoken or otherwise. The technical stuff is really difficult to understand in layman's terms, but you can essentially think of a native French speaker reading an English Bible. His understandings will be mostly complete, but he will lose a great deal of the meaning in the process and lose what intricacies that English may have that French does not, and vice versa. This is assuming that the individual is deaf at birth and didn't already know said spoken language. It'd be like putting it into Google Translate and hoping for the best. I'm pretty loath to encourage more Bibles, but I wholeheartedly support the idea to translate it into sign languages. The deaf community deserves to understand the Bible in its completeness and assess its own shoddy validity as much as hearing people do. Even if broadband access gets a bit dicey. My only qualm is that I hope that they're translating it with a native sign language and English speaker. You can be native in sign language as naturally as you are in a spoken language, so that they get the most accurate to the text version. So thanks, Chaz.
Yeah.
Sign languages they have entirely separate syntax and diction and all that sort of stuff, and so it is important to realize that it's not just like, yes, I was glib about, deaf people being able to read because they have vision, they have sight.
Right.
But it's not as simple as that.
No.
They were raised with a different language.
Sure.
And so I can see how that could be very tricky.
Right.
So there you go. Thank you for that. We had a whole bunch of people write in and call in about that. Do we have some? Oh, we do. We have some people to thank, and I'm going to start us off by saying that we need to thank Stephen, who is a new donor on PayPal.
Oh, nice.
So thank you for that. This is all of it goes into the kitty of people that we're counting to try and get to our new goal.
Yes, indeed. We have one new Patreon.
Okay.
I always throw that I always get thrown off by that.
Yes.
A
A patron on
patron
Patreon.
on Patreon. Anywho, coming in at the Pope level.
A new pope?
We have a new Pope. Dan.
Holy cow.
Jared.
Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you, Jared. That's
Thank you,
fantastic.
Jared.
And as always, we have our top donor, our Lord and Savior, Hannah.
Oh, blessed be she.
Yeah.
Y'all are amazing. If you would like to help us reach our goal of getting to ad-free, entirely listener-supported TGIA,
Yes.
you can do so by going to thankgodimatheist.com and clicking on the banner on the right-hand side of the page.
Right.
And that'll take you to Patreon. You can just you choose the level at which you support us, and then you're a good person, just like these guys.
So, Dan,
Yes, sir.
I came across this interesting article about, well, it's a tragic situation
Okay.
for not only our beautiful open lands here in Utah,
Yeah.
but for the tribes that consider these lands sacred.
Sure.
And right now, the government is opening lands up near some of these sacred lands.
Yeah, I mean,
And
right
this is a
now,
constant struggle
basically,
right now.
the Trump administration is just fucking everything over, except for big business.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
oil gets to go into all these national monuments and all these places that previously were forbidding
Yeah,
oil.
yeah.
But
And beautiful parts of our state, southeast Utah,
yeah,
southwest Colorado,
sure.
bits of Arizona, so forth and so on, where these tribes, I mean, I've been down to like the Mesa Verde National Park,
Yeah.
which is amazing. And this is talking about a place called Hovenweep, which
Right.
also has a lot of old ruins
Yeah.
of ancient communities.
Yeah, like prehistoric Pueblan villages.
Yes, exactly. And a coalition of tribes has started to oppose, or has been opposing for a very long time, these activities. And so I was sitting there and I'm like, wow, I feel strongly about this issue. I don't think that these lands should be developed. I think they should be held pristine. This is a dark skies area.
Well,
which
tell
is
that to
something
the
I-
Puebloans. They developed it first.
I know. They're the ones who desecrated the land in the first place.
Right.
No, but this is also like a dark skies area, which is a really amazing program of trying to preserve these pristine areas
That don't have light
that
pollution.
don't have light pollution, and yet the big business, energy, etc., would love to come in and develop these areas and exploit the oil
Yeah.
that potentially is there. So my interests are currently aligned with these native groups who consider these lands sacred.
Right.
And that's not problematic. That's just people who kind of agree on an issue, right? But I also respect their arguments here,
Uh-huh.
right? Like this.
Well,
like if
and
nothing else, I don't care. I honestly don't even care that they consider it sacred. I care that we just respect the wishes of these people for once.
Every now and then.
Just
Almost on a whim.
Could
Every now
possibly-
and then just be like respectful of the people that we decimated and whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting
unreal.
because the temptation is there for us when we do find our interests aligning with those of a tribe or of a religious group.
Yeah.
The temptation is to sort of call upon that. You know, when the what was the pipeline that was the Keystone pipeline was coming through, and the native tribes were protesting that.
Yeah.
As were a whole bunch of very of liberal people.
Right.
The temptation is to make it just about that.
Right.
But you know what? I think that's a bad place to go, to say this is sacred to somebody, so we need to honor that.
Right.
Because there are better reasons
Oh yeah.
to be opposed to an oil pipeline or the development of
Right.
these lands. Their sense of what is sacred is a dangerous precedent to set, because then we have to honor everything that's sacred to everybody. And a line has to be drawn at some point.
Right.
There is also, for instance, I think we've reported on it months ago, an ongoing protest in Hawaii where they're going to build a huge telescope
Right.
on top of a Hawaiian mountain, because
Yes.
it's some of the clearest sky
Yeah.
that you get.
Yeah.
So it's great. We can see into the space and whatnot. And there are already telescopes up there. However, that mountain is sacred to Native Hawaiians.
Yeah.
It's like, some god or something.
Right. Well, clearly.
Yeah,
Clearly
obviously.
it is.
Obviously. So they're demonstrating, they're out there every day. They've been out there for months trying to stop the building of the 30-meter telescope based on the sacredness of the mountain.
Right.
If I align myself with the sacredness of the Hovenweep area or whatever, then I got to align myself. I mean, look, I don't think we should just discount them because they think it's sacred. I think that should be a consideration.
I think that you have to at least understand why, like, what their motivations are in protecting the land.
Yeah.
Right. And they do see it as sacred. But I mean, honestly, like, I mean, you bringing in this issue with the telescope, it is a very different issue. One, we're saying, my perspective on southern Utah is that it should just be preserved,
Sure.
as much as possible.
Sure.
Right, that these open spaces, these quiet and dark places that are left on the planet and in this country, that we should probably think about, like, what that means to keep them.
Right.
Right, that there is an experience of going out to these places that don't have any kind of encroachment of development or
Right.
industry or whatever, that makes them incredibly special. Right. And I know that a lot of people in the West actually resent that protectionist perspective.
Sure.
Right. A lot of our neighbors in this area don't think that way.
Right.
And then there's this other group here who think like we do. And we're like, no, what is wrong with you? Why would you want to let this be destroyed?
Right.
Because we only get it once, right? These lands only are pristine until
Until they ain't.
they're not,
And then it's
right?
gone.
And then what do you do? Like, you can't. It's going to be millennia.
Yeah, you
before
can't
something-
turn back clocks on that sort
Yeah.
of thing. Well, the same thinking could be applied to the thing in Hawaii.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
I know.
It's a tricky thing, and I think that there is validity in discussing what is sacred to people, and honoring what is sacred to people. It's not. We shouldn't just dismiss what people hold sacred.
Right.
I think
Because,
that's
because in essence, my attitude about these places is, I hesitate to say that I feel that they're sacred, right?
Yeah.
But in the way my attitude holds it in such high esteem, right?
sure.
That it verges on a sense of sacred,
Sure.
right?
But my point is, while we need to honor what other people hold to be sacred, we also need to know that, like, your version, what you think is sacred, isn't what I think is sacred. And we need to...
Well, the oil companies don't see southern Utah as sacred.
I know. What I'm saying is that can't be the deciding factor on things.
Right.
Because Lord knows the Christians have been using the word sacred to bludgeon us for decades. For hundreds, thousands of years, people have used that word to beat the shit out of people and not let people take away people's freedoms,
right?
All sorts of things. The word sacred cannot be a be-all, end-all.
Right.
So I find myself at odds with myself on this all the time because I can't figure out where my brain is willing to stop.
I know,
because I want to honor people,
right?
And I want to even Christians, even the most obnoxious Christians, I want to honor what's important to them,
right?
But it can't stop. Like, it can't infringe too much on my rights. And that is where we need to find where the line is. A line has to be drawn.
Well, yeah, because you tell me this, pristine place is going to be disrupted by a telescope, and I go, oh, okay, right,
because we're excited about the science that's going to happen,
right? But you tell me that the same place is going to be disrupted by oil exploration,
right?
And it's an emphatic no.
I think a lot of people on our side, on the sort of liberal left, are like if you said the same plot of land is going to have an oil derrick on it, they'll scream and shout.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say that plot of land is going to have, they'll scream and shout about the pristineness of the land or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But if you say you're going to put up a windmill, they'd be like, "Oh, great!" So like,
I don't want windmills through southern Utah. Not most of it. There are parts of it where they could go, right?
What I'm saying is,
but like,
we have to check our own biases on these things. I'm saying a lot of people would be okay with one and not okay with the other, and the desecration is exactly the same. So, like, start doing some thought experiments with yourself, I think.
Is the desecration exactly the same?
In terms of, like, a big machine being on the land?
I mean...
What else is the...
You could convince me more easily that a windmill should go in to some place than oil.
I mean, the desecration isn't the same in the sense that, like, a windmill's not going to create pollution.
Yeah, exactly. Outside of that immediate space of, like, it being visual
pollution.
Well,
and there's pollution involved in making the thing and building the thing.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
All that sort of
but
stuff.
Ultimately, it's producing power.
It's less polluting.
Yeah,
in total,
putting this crap into the air.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The long-term problems with a windmill are less than the long-term problems, presumably, of an oil derrick. And yet, I think a lot of times the objection is, I'm just saying, like, we need to be coming up with thought experiments for ourselves to check our own biases, and that's how we figure out what these lines are, where we draw these lines, in terms of, how much do we honor, because... It's so easy when we see someone agreeing with us to go, what they said.
Yeah. It's sacred.
It's sacred. We can't do anything.
Yeah. You have to respect those people.
Right.
Because I really wrestle with the whole Native Hawaiian thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, again, it's kind of it's a very similar sort of scenario. A bunch of white people come in and displace you from your stuff and take your stuff and your land and this and that. Right. And this is this place that's, important to them.
Yeah.
And I would normally argue, well, as a displaced Native people, again, I don't care that it's sacred. I care that they care about it.
Right.
Right. Like, I care that it's important to them.
Right.
Okay, well, maybe we should try to find some way to honor that. But then you tell me that it's like one of the only places where you can put this telescope to do this thing, and that there's already telescopes up there. I'm like, well, use the same access road and put it over there and be respectful and fuck. God damn it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, but then it turns out that they already resent those other 2 telescopes or whatever it is, and you're just like, oh man,
It's tricky.
God, why are you making this so fucking hard? I just want these people to be able to look at the stars,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And do their science.
Yep.
Makes me happy.
It's tricky.
But I don't like fat cats getting fatter off
Right.
extracting oil out of the land.
What
That
about
makes me
what about
crazy.
those fat cats running big science out there? All those guys getting wealthy
I
off
hate
of,
them so
off of
much.
telescopes.
Oh my God, makes me crazy.
Yeah.
Big lens.
Big Hubble's over here getting rich. Well, we got Native Hawaiians being dishonored. Anyway, these are not easy things. I think if anything, this segment is just about not making everything in black and white,
Yeah.
because that's not how the world works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, if you have some insights that you would like to offer, please do so. Write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click on that like button.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group. We will let you in. Also, find us on Twitter. I tweet every once in a while.
Yeah.
At TGI Atheist.
Yeah. Speaking of the social media, our sincerest thanks go to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on the Facebook page, and to Amy and Danny for being moderators in the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music, and also to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And a big thanks to all of you for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.